Hello, everyone. I'm Dan the Man, and this is going to be my sort of impromptu Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 review. I'm a huge fan of DC and of the DC TV shows, as some of you have looked over my channel might have noticed, if any of you listen have looked over my channel. And I wanted to do some kind of coverage of Crisis because for DC, or at least DC TV, arguably DC anywhere in the media, this is definitely a huge event, but I don't really have the time to make a video in any of my usual styles with a lot of visuals and editing and get them out at the rate these are going to come out. But I still wanted to cover them in some way, so I'm going to do sort of an impromptu sort of an impromptu review, just giving my thoughts off the top of my head. You probably won't get much in the way of visuals, aside from this pretty graphic you're looking at right now. So just consider this sort of a podcast more than anything else. So my thoughts on Part 1 of Crisis, other than, wow, it was everything if not more than I thought it would be. I love the beginning, how could I not? The fact that the Batman movie with Michael Keaton, the original 1989 Batman movie, was going to get a mention in this, had leaked out, so I figured it would be something like this. I certainly didn't expect to see Michael Keaton appear, but what they had was really good. I loved that they included it into something like this. That was awesome. I'm a huge fan of DC Universe, so it was great to see Titans in there. I couldn't miss out on that. Also, fun to see Earth X at least get a mention with the Ray. I can only assume the shots with the Ray and Hawk and Jason Todd were just edited from previous appearances, and some people are probably going to pick apart the fact that presumably the Earth from the Titans was destroyed in the beginning, and yet it's still going on. Rather, the Titans will still be going on. But I say screw that. It was awesome to see them in there. I don't really care if there's a continuity error. If you want to make sense out of it, just say that it was a different Earth. Or rather, just not the Earth that the Titans show on DC Universe was set on. Easy peasy. The rest of the episode was great. I mean, with the crossovers, seeing all these characters together wasn't really anything new, but it was well done to see everyone team it up together, to see Superman in the mix. The scene with Supergirl and Superman talking together was great. I mentioned this on Twitter, but I just want to say I don't understand why Warner Brothers seems to think they can't make Superman work in the modern day when they do such a great job with him on Supergirl. I just wonder who's in charge that's making those decisions, that Superman is somehow unable to work in the present because I guess he's not gritty enough. As if that's the only thing that works. Shazam worked in the present. I mean, Superman is gritty compared to Shazam. So I just don't get that. Maybe, hopefully, the reception of him on this will help get a Superman movie made, because it's ridiculous that they seem to think that's some undoable thing. They didn't do a good job with it in the last movie. That's why it didn't fail. That's why it didn't work, rather. It's not because Superman is not doable in the present. Okay, end of that rant. I liked the scene with Sarah and the older Oliver. It was kind of nice to get that throwback to the event that pretty much started it all for Arrow, and in a sense for all of this. To have Sarah and Oliver in that scene together, that was nice. It was a little weird that they left old Oliver back on his Earth to presumably eventually die in the Crisis. I think they should offer to take him with them, but looking back behind the curtain, they couldn't really have done that, or they could have, I guess, but there would have been problems with it narratively and logistically, so it wasn't going to happen. It doesn't take away from what a great scene it was. I love the fight with the shadow demons. I really love the red skies, the towers, the shadow demons, all those elements taken from the comics. I know Marv Wolfman wrote this or had a hand in writing it. I'm not actually sure, but I know he was heavily involved in this, so that's not shocking. But I love that they're doing so much with Crisis. They could obviously never do what they did in the comics on a TV budget. It would have been near impossible to do, but they're definitely doing a great job making this feel like they're adapting Crisis and not just sticking the name on it and doing something only slightly resembling it. They're definitely within the realms of what they could do, giving us Crisis. The other thing I liked, like might be a strong word, but I definitely was impressed with, was that they killed Oliver at the end of Part 1. Now, obviously, everyone knew Oliver was going to die. I think they telegraphed that pretty well. That wasn't intended to be a surprise twist. But with more episodes of Green Arrow on the way, with this only being Part 1, I think everyone assumed he'd die at the end of the crossover. Maybe in Part 4, but definitely not in Part 1. So that was a surprise. It was also a very well done scene. So those were the things I liked about it. I'm definitely looking forward to part 2. It seems like that's when Brandon Routh playing the Kingdom Come Superman and the Kingdom Come Batman. And I'm ashamed to say I forgot his name. I should have looked it up before I started this, but he's done by the guy who did the voice of him in Batman the Animated Series. I love Batman the Animated Series. I don't have the nostalgia connection a lot do. I was in high school when it came out, so it was a little after my time. It didn't shape my views of Batman the way it did for a whole other generation, but still, to have him play Batman is awesome, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. And Brandon Routh, while the Superman movie he was in wasn't that good, a lot of mistakes were made on that one, he played Superman perfectly, so I'm glad he's getting a chance to play him again in something that will likely be a lot more well received. So that's pretty much all I have to say off the top of my head about this. I'm sure once I stop recording, I'm going to think of 50 million things I should have said, but as I said, I don't have time to sit down and go over a script and make a more thorough video. These are just my quick thoughts off the top of my head. So that's what I have to say here, and I will be back with a video, presumably tomorrow, that will have my thoughts on part 2 of Crisis. I might also give my thoughts on Black Lightning, which based on the commercial is going to tie into Crisis. Full disclosure, I haven't seen Black Lightning yet, so I might not have much to say since I probably won't know what's going on besides the Crisis tie-in stuff, but if I have anything to say about that, I'll say it. Feel free to let me know what you thought of Part 1 of Crisis in the comments below if you'd so like, and if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will give my thoughts on future Crisis. I also do comic book reviews. I do a series called From the Dollar Bin, planning to start that back up. It's been a while. We'll call that Season 2 when I do, as well as reviews of Harley Quinn, the show that's on DC Universe right now, the excellent and hilarious show. You should definitely check that out, my reviews and the series. And I'm Dan the Man, and I'll see you next time.